So I'm taking this AI ethics class at Stanford, and I came across the most fascinating case of AI bias I've ever heard of. So the case revolves around a company that was set up to support veterans into getting back into the job market. So a lot of veterans have a hard time getting hired, translating their military achievements into achievements that can be understood by hiring managers, and so they would support with all of that. And they would also hire veterans as part of this work. And so the company is thriving and it becomes a really good place for people to work at. And eventually, HR gets overwhelmed by the amount of applications that they keep getting. And so, of course, they're like, okay, how do we make it easier for HR to do their job? And they decide to use an AI hiring system for this. So, once the AI hiring software is installed, HR is having an easy time, they're hiring faster, everybody's happy or not. So one woman applies to work at the company and she gets an automatic rejection. And she's really upset because she looks at her resume and it matches exactly with the kind of people they employ at the company. And so she decides to reach out to the company to help her understand why the hell she got rejected. And so as I'm reading this, I'm like, oh, of course, it's gender bias. She's a woman trying to get hired in a company that hires veterans, and historically, veterans are, or rather, people in the military are more male, and so perhaps the data that they used was, from more male applicants, and that was why she got rejected. And that's not the answer. So the data science team, when asked about this, they're like, hey, we programmed this software to make sure that there is no bias against applicants based on their protected categories. So it's not gender. Okay, so what's the next possible thing? So this person is disabled. And I'm like, okay, maybe it's being disabled. But then the data science team is like, look, this is a company that has veterans. So meaning we always hire disabled people because a lot of veterans leave the military with a lifelong disability. So that's not the case. And so now they're wondering what could really have been the source of this. And at this point, I'm also like, okay, what really was the cause of this bias? And it boils down to one thing. Turns out she was rejected because of sports. In that tiny section in your resume at the bottom where you write about your interest, um, turns out a lot of previously employed people were interested in sports, and so they would write down there that they were interested in sports at some point. And also, a lot of people who are in the military were often people who were athletic before. It doesn't matter if they continued after, but it was still an interest, so they would always add it at the bottom. Because this applicant had been disabled for her entire life, it meant that she never really participated in sports. And so sports